We were talking about culture, and Jen and I actually named the Patriots as the winner of this offseason. Packers are probably one of the losers of this offseason. Joy, how do you see it? Who's your winner? Who's your loser?
Yeah, I didn't love the Packers' moves this offseason. I felt like they should have fought harder to keep Corey Linsley. I thought that was a big loss for them, their center. I actually think the Browns are the winner of
I like it.
the offseason.
Yeah.
I like the Patriots move. I like that they were aggressive. I do think they overpaid, which I really don't believe. I use the air quotes because I don't really believe in overpaying. I feel like it's free agency. You're going to overpay. It's free agency. So like, what is overpaying really in the grand scheme of things? You have to pay for talents, and this is what's available. So I like their moves. I like that they were aggressive, but I think that the Browns did the best job of filling what they needed. They needed some help in the secondary, which they got, and another receiver, because we're not really sure what's going to happen with Odell this year. So I thought the Browns did a great job of filling what they needed, and now they can really kind of focus on getting depth in the draft. So I think the Browns are the winner. I would agree. The Packers, I didn't really like their moves in the offseason.
We also have to chime in with the Buccaneers bringing everyone back after a Super Bowl win. That is unheard of.
It's unheard of because of Tom Brady. So, Tom Brady is so affordable that and so willing to restructure his contracts all the time that he makes that possible, because otherwise it would just never be possible to do that. I don't know what they're going to do with Antonio Brown, but yeah, it's remarkable that they've been able to bring everybody back.
Yeah, and it means that it also indicates how good the culture is, right? People are all in to win. They are doubling down. They are, you like Sue took less money, right, to stay there. Like that's not his MO, right? He was known as
he's a mercenary,
right? As a mercenary. So if you have a mercenary willing to take less money, have mercy, because the rest of the league is in trouble, right? It just is. And then for the Patriots, for me, it was that they needed to get talent for a long time, and they finally just actually spent some money, right? Yeah. That is the biggest turnaround. I think they'll be back in contendership. I feel like he's sitting there making evil plans, like Dr. Evil, like, right? Like,
Belichick definitely has a plan. I always felt like he had a plan, but I do think what happened this offseason that's different than any other offseason is they finally kind of started putting the pressure on him about spending some money, and that his draft picks and draft moves have at the skill positions have been a disaster. And, we heard the story, I think 2 days ago, that he ignored scouts when he was drafting N'Keal Harry because he knew his coach, and like, okay, Bill, like, come on, like you have a scouting department for a reason. Not that anybody has any exact science to the draft, because we certainly don't, but you got to do a little bit more than that. And so I think it's one that they needed to do it, obviously, but for the first time, I think the pressure from upstairs was like, all right, we're gonna have to spend some money in the off season. We didn't have enough last year, and obviously whatever you've been doing in the draft with these skill positions has been a disaster. So we're gonna go out and pay for some people.
Well, and that's it. Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I mean, imagine this roster with this offense with Deebo Samuel instead of N'Keal Harry. That's like Julian Edelman 2.0. So there you go. My question is, do we think the Patriots now, with what they've done, are they contenders now? Are they AFC contenders?
I have to see how Cam Newton looks throughout the season. I'm much higher on Cam Newton than I think a lot of people are. I think another year in the system, I think giving him, some pieces on the offensive side. And they had 8 players opt out last year, so they're going to be back. So that's significant as well, because we're not considering that when we're talking about the off-season move. So, yeah, I mean, I don't ever count out Bill Belichick. Last year I did, because they were trying to pitch me on this whole Jarrett Stidham thing, and I was like, that's nonsense. But they were, talking about being contenders, it's not like they won 2 games last year.
Right.
No.
Right. So like, it's not like they're completely out of it. That division is still very interesting. I have no idea what Tua is. Dolphins fans seem to know. I do not. And we know, the Bills have Josh Allen, but a lot happens throughout the NFL season. So I don't know that they're Super Bowl contenders, but I definitely think they are easily a playoff team. And you get Bill Belichick in the playoffs, and I'm not counting him out of anything. So I think Cam Newton, another year in the system, not sick with COVID, which I think the COVID thing really just threw a wrench in the middle of the season for them. And he was obviously not well when he came back, which everyone's not really giving enough attention to. So I think they played well down the stretch. They're going to get a lot of pieces back, a lot more talented roster this year. So I can't give them Super Bowl contender, but I can definitely say if they make the playoffs, it could be a problem for somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm the same about Cam Newton as you are. I think he's somebody who has an upside, a tremendous one. I also think that, yeah, the COVID killed him, right? You could see a clear, marked difference between before COVID, he was progressing. The team was starting to look, pretty good. Josh McDaniels kind of opened up the playbook a little bit because now he doesn't have somebody he has to pocket protect on every play. But after that, I mean, Cam, it was like, we talk about, you said what, Edelman 2.0, that was like Cam 0.20, right? Yeah. Like it was, it was you take an Adonis and one of the most competitive individuals I've ever met in my life and a physical specimen. And you put kryptonite around his neck was all I could say to him. Like it just wasn't Cam. And I think that they know that Cam is on the rise or they wouldn't have recommitted, right? Like, I think they know he's physically back. Although, the BET show coming out, what, Sip and Smoke, was it, Mitch? Yes. That makes me a little bit nervous because I'd rather see Cam winning the run and score competition, but it's okay. He's multifaceted. He can do both.
I also think we have to consider last year that there was no off season. So this year there's going to be a completely different training, off-season training, OTAs, training camp setup. We've gotten through that part of COVID now. So we have protocols and now vaccines. So they're going to get to actually have a proper training camp preseason leading into the season. And I think that's going to benefit a lot of teams. And these rookie quarterbacks coming in, because the rookie quarterbacks this year did not get that. So I think that's going to be a huge factor for teams this year as well.
Yeah, and Cam was even late to no training camp. He was a late signing. So yeah, absolutely. He was like last minute. He was like, hey, come in from the parking lot. We got a game today. You want to play?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, we got you.
Get a little stretch in, get out there.
Put some WD-40 on those joints. Let's go, buddy.
With the Patriots too, I think obviously the conversation should be centered around Cam Newton. He's the quarterback. He's the guy everybody knows. But when you look at the rest of the roster, they improved their defense a ton. I mean, that defense could be near 2019 form again. The secondary is the best in football for my money, and the offensive line is top 3 in the league. So when you look at what's supporting Cam Newton, it's an elite roster supporting Cam Newton now, not what he had last year.